Hey comic book fans, today we're talking about Spawn issue 7. Now, it's been a long time since I've talked about a Spawn comic book on this channel. Spawn issue 1 was actually the first comic I talked about on this channel. And I was wondering what book I should do for the middle of the week, and Spawn popped in my head. We'll continue with issue 7. If you remember the last issue that we talked about, Spawn pretty much got his butt kicked by Overkill, which is a cyborg assassin working for the mafia. And we're still in the beginning stages of Al Simmons, so he's not used to his powers yet. He doesn't really know how to do anything, so he goes for what he knows, which is weaponry, artillery, the stuff that he did when he was alive. Mostly because he wants to get his get back on Overkill, but now he has accidentally involved himself within the underworld of the mafia as well. And this story does a lot of interesting things with Spawn, because after he was done getting his weapons, the military came busting through the door. And for Al Simmons, he is not a 100% hero or villain, but he is a decent human being. So he doesn't, just start blasting at them. Instead, he utilizes one of his many abilities, which is teleportation, something that he has not used, at all yet. And he uses this and he teleports himself back into the alleyway, which is his home, right? Al Simmons is homeless. He's the undead and he's homeless. And the only people that are decent around him are the other homeless and the drunks and the bums that also wander around that area. And for Spawn, they care about him and he cares about them. This is his new life. And we get more to look at with Overkill and the Mafia. On their perspective and on their side, Spawn is dead, right? He is gone and it is business as usual. But for Al Simmons, on his side, it is the torture he is going through, right? He is still slowly remembering what happened to him, because Al Simmons at this point in time still does not know how he died in the first place. He has uncovered and remembered enough to know that somebody killed him in particular, that he was killed by somebody that might have been close, somebody that was in his proximity of understanding his job or business, but he cannot put his finger on it yet. And so that is the underlying plot throughout these stories so far, is who did this to me and why am I here. And we even get Wanda, and even the story itself explains that for the past 5 years, she's remarried, she's went on with her life, but ever since Al Simmons has come back, she herself cannot rest either, because it's like this bond between them. She knows that something else happened with Spawn. She doesn't think that he died for his country. She thinks that he was murdered or assassinated in some shape or form, which she is right, which is absolutely insane. How is she knowing this, or how is she having these dreams and uncovered? I feel like it is like God himself trying to say something to her, right? I feel like it is something more deeper than that. I feel like Wanda is not just having these just because out of the blue, these premonitions or visions. I feel like she's having these because of her connection with Al Simmons and because of a supernatural situation at hand here. And we get into this battle with Spawn, and Spawn he's probably the coolest looking character, especially in his back then when Spawn first came out. And he was such an interesting character because he was able to do so many things with him. He was able to do like a Punisher with him. He was able to do like Batman flavored Spider-Man. He was so many different aspects at once when it came to the character Spawn, and it didn't feel like he was a ripoff. It didn't feel like, you know, he was just a different version of another character. And I don't think we see that level of creativity as much in the comic book space, in my opinion, anymore. And we get this final battle between him and Overkill, and I like how it is in the style of meet me here, I want round 2 with you, let's fight. And that's exactly what happens. And again, Spawn is still inexperienced because he still doesn't know how to utilize his powers and his chains in a, you know, in that professional way yet. But at the same time, he is still operating with what he knows and how he knows to operate. And Overkill was, in this moment in time for him, he was the guy that was screwed, because Al Simmons, at the very least, had weaponry and artillery to work with that he did not have before. And so, you know, even when Spawn takes off his mask, you know, takes off the extra layer of flesh and shows him like, this is going to be your fate. I already know what hell looks like, what it feels like, and I'm going to send you there myself. And Overkill did not take him seriously at all until it was already too late, because Spawn just blows his chest wide open, right? I love how guns didn't make any sense back then in comics. We need to bring that back, right? Bring back the over-exaggerated weaponry, the over-exaggerated, you know, poses and characters. And we see this awesome panel of Spawn. He just loves, like, you know, the defeat of Overkill. And you can see like that bits of evil just creeping through, that Al Simmons is back in his element. And I just love it, because again, he's not a complete villain, he's not a superhero, he's that guy that we all would be if we had powers, right? Like, just absolutely destroying the villain, and love doing it. And that's just, I love going back to these older comics, especially Spawn, because you get such great storytelling, you get such great art. It's everything you want in a comic this story provides. And that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you for watching.